What's going on, everybody? It's Josh.
And Logan.
And we coming to you from J.R.Heller Real Estate and Mortgage. And today we're going to talk about
the differences between getting your license in real estate, getting your license for your NMLS for mortgage, the difference in establishing a mortgage brokerage, and then also a real estate brokerage and getting your broker's license.
We've done them both. We know how it works. We know the loopholes. We know the tricks. We know the trades. So yeah, we'll chat about that, what we both like and dislike on the two different regards of where we sit in the company and what the role entails. And so yeah, let's get into it. Logan.
Awesome. Yeah, real quick, guys, before we get into it, shout out Cabinet Gurus wearing the hat today.
Oh, snap.
We'll drop the link down below. Dude, if you need anything cabinet related, they are the best price-wise and efficiency-wise. I'll get it to you ASAP, and they can get you pretty much anything under the sun that you want. Really great pricing. Newer company, really good friends with the owner. So if you need anything, guys, hit the link down below. They'll hook you up for any of your fix and flips, or even your own personal residence if you just want to swap out cabinets.
Yeah, I was going to say, great thing for investors. We're using them. Actually, it reminds me we're picking up a deal in Colombia today, and we'll have to get a quote from them today on some cabinets for that place. So yeah, definitely check them out.
Yeah, link is down below, guys. Click on that. They'll hook you up. And any questions you guys need, you can reach out to us, or we'll get you connected with the owner himself.
Very cool. Very cool. Okay, cool.
As far as real estate goes, because I'm the real estate guy, Josh is the mortgage guy. I obviously started getting my license. You can't jump right into real estate and get your broker's license. Josh established a company. He leveraged a broker of record. That's how he was able to establish the real estate brokerage. Other agents can do that. So if you get your real estate license and you want to start your own brokerage, by all means, there's ways around that and ways to do that.
You don't even need a real estate license.
That's true. That's true. You
can't practice real estate.
Exactly. Then they won't be able to operate as a realtor though at all. But you could still open up a brokerage and then get other people, who are licensed to operate in real estate. So, there's different caveats to that. And any questions you guys have, comment down below or reach out to us. We can help kind of field those questions for you. As far as getting your real estate license, 75 hours of education in Pennsylvania. You have a 45-hour class and a 30-hour class. And then once you've passed those classes, all you need to do is test out. Real simple, real easy, pretty straight to the point. There's a reason why a ton of people get their real estate license.
It used to be 60 hours.
Yeah.
Me, my dinosaur age, when I did it, it was 60 hours.
Yeah, the barrier to entry is very low, guys.
Yeah.
What separates people from getting their license and actually being successful is a massive differentiator in terms of like time invested into the business and relationships built, and
everything is hard.
Yeah.
There's nothing you can do on this planet that's worthwhile to do that isn't hard.
Exactly.
Real estate's not any different.
And those are some of my things that I like and dislike about the industry, which we'll get into a little bit. But yeah, as far as getting your real estate license, guys, 75 hours of education and then passing the state and national exams, more or less, it's just a money grab. You gotta spend money to get into the industry. I always tell people to budget about $2,000 when it's all said and done with all your dues and everything. So, if you have $2,000 set aside and you're interested in getting your license, you can do it within a week's time, 2 weeks time. If you do the online classes, obviously there's in-person classes and Zoom classes that you can do as well. Which that'll take you a couple weeks just because they're usually one day, like every Friday from like 9 to 3 or something like that. So it takes some time at that point just to actually get through the classes. But you do online self-paced, you can knock it out in a week or two and go ahead and test out, and you're licensed. You find a broker to hang your license with and you can start practicing right away. If you want to get into getting your NMLS.
It's funny because as you're sitting here, and I already knew it, but like thinking about the differences is pretty crazy. It is just a lot easier to get your NMLS, to get your mortgage license, and it's a lot cheaper too, which is just crazy to me to think about, because you would think it would be the opposite. Such a heavily regulated industry, and and a finance industry too. But it's 20 hours to get your NMLS. Typically, you can get it for obviously the state that you're working in, but if you want to add other states, typically there's no additional test taking whatsoever. You can just file paperwork with the state and the NMLS and basically get licensed in other states fairly quickly. kind of like reciprocals for real estate, but it's like almost nationwide. Like there's only like 3 or 4 states
that's
that
insane.
are hard to get licensed in.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And then 20 hours, and it's about $300. We here actually have a coupon code from UWM, which is one of our lenders, so that if you want to take that MLS and you were going to be with us, it's only like $175, I think.
Yeah, it's nothing.
And that's it, man. Like there's no additional, like you're gonna pay for like a background check from the state, probably like $30. Like, yeah, I mean, versus like $2,000 to get your realtor's license, you're looking at like maybe $300 to $500 all in for everything to get
crazy.
Licensed.
Yeah.
Now, if you're opening a brokerage yourself,
Yeah,
that's a little different because you need surety bonds and you need a whole bunch of mess of things, insurance and
they
it's
take a look
lot.
at take a look at your credit and finances and everything.
Getting a mortgage brokerage was the hardest thing I've ever done as far as opening a company. It took the most paperwork, it took the most background checks, and I have an FFL license, my federal firearms license. That was easier to get. I've opened a real estate brokerage. That was easier to have. The mortgage brokerage, they really, as an owner, they go back through your history and make sure, and it's understandable, right? You're dealing with people's social security numbers, their credit, their money, their assets. You have all of their personal information, and so they want to make sure that whoever is the owner or whoever's looking at this information is trustworthy and they can be relied upon. So
yeah, which is why I'm shocked as far as getting a real estate license. It's so easy too. Yeah. I mean, obviously there's more money involved, but I mean, 75 hours just for a
money
license.
Testing. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you would think that it's more intensive because regardless if you're on the finance side or on the sales side, I mean, it's people's largest financial purchase unless they're a business owner ever. Nobody's spending more money on anything else unless you're a business owner.
Yeah, majority of them, it's the largest transaction they'll ever do.
Yeah.
And so, and I think it'll change a lot. I mean, it already has changed a lot, and I think it will continue to. So, why don't we get into the day-to-day and talk about some of the things we like in the industry and some of the things we dislike.
Yeah, well, I'm going to touch on broker's license quick, too. Getting your broker's license is a little bit more intensive than getting your real estate license. So when I say broker's license, I'm referring to the real estate broker's license, not the NMLS. We have to do 240 hours of education, and this is in Pennsylvania, 240 hours of education, so it's, 4 times the amount, give or take a little less than 4 times the amount of hours of education, and then you need to have a certain volume of transactions in as well. In PA, it's 200 points, and you get like 1 point for putting a property on the market, and you get like 3 points for leases, and then you get 5 points for closed transactions. So you got to basically do 40 full transactions to actually be eligible. You also need to be in the industry for at least 3 years.
What's the timeline?
Yeah, 3 years. Yeah, so again, you can't just go get your license, even if you have a stellar year. Let's say you close 40 transactions your first year, which is phenomenal. I mean, you're rolling in it at that point. Yeah, you crush it first year, you still have to wait another 2 years. So you're even eligible.
And I know that used to be very different too, because I know in some states, I've heard guys, they would literally open up
do one and then the next.
Yep.
Yep. Just like same with your driver's license. You get your permit and go for your license the next day. Things have changed tremendously.
Yeah, for sure, and it's good. I mean, we need honestly and I would say that this is probably one of the items that I personally don't like in either regards is the barrier to entry, how easy it is.
Yeah.
And I think it's better when, there's more barriers to be able to get in the industry, because then obviously there's less competition.
It weeds people out.
Yeah. And the people that are in the industry then are reputable. And so that helps everybody in the industry.
Oh, yeah. I mean, anybody watching this, how many realtors do you know? I mean, everybody has at least 5-10 realtors that they know, and it's like, oh, well, I have my aunt, I have my mom, I have my friend from high school. Everybody knows a realtor. But are they any good?
I saw a poll once that, and I don't know how true it is, I saw a poll once that people trust realtors less than they do used car salesmen.
Oh, yeah. 100%, dude. That's because everybody is a realtor.
Yeah, it's true.
Everybody, we were pulling numbers on some other, competing offices locally, and it's like, dude, nobody's doing any transaction volume.
Right.
There's like, 80% of the people in some of the offices that we were pulling have done 0 transactions in the last 2 years.
Wow.
So they're doing their continuing education. Any fees or dues that are due to their broker annually, they're paying probably upwards of $2,000, maybe $1,500 for the 2 years, and not doing anything. Yeah, crazy.
Yeah, and that's majority of the industry. I would say that's probably the same for NMLS too. I mean, majority of LOs out there. Well, right now with the way interest rates are and everything, and the market, a lot are just leaving the industry altogether. Like they're just not practicing anymore. They're going off and doing other things. Similar to 2008 when the bubble burst, is that they're getting out of the industry because they don't know how to make a living anymore with it, because a lot of them took it for granted or didn't build their business from a standpoint that could last in this environment. They just picked up the phone when there were refis and basically took orders.
Yeah, exactly. So and got paid hand over fist money.
Very much, yes.
Yeah.
Exactly. So.
Yeah. Hey, more for us, man.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And that's why I love starting businesses and getting into things when there's downturns in the industries, because it allows you to have a land grab a lot easier. It allows you to get traction because you're not competing with a ton of people, right? So.
Yeah. Well, and if it's built out the right way too, then when the uptick happens again and everybody's trying to flood the industry, we're already cemented in.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, weather any storm and thrive in good times and be able to survive and even thrive in bad times.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
I'm going to get into some of my likes and dislikes, and all of them are actually related to one another. The same things that I like about the industry, I also don't like about the industry. So I wrote mine down here. Josh is going off the cuff.
I haven't even thought about it. I'm just going to...
So the freedom to run my business how I like, I absolutely love. Anybody who is entrepreneurial loves to be able to have their, hands in the dirt and be able to structure things how they like to do things. I love the flexibility there. Yeah. And with that being said, the flexibility in schedule, right? I get to sit here, it's 10 o'clock in the morning with Josh. Most people are sitting in an office or, out in construction fields or doing whatever they have to do, right? They're clocking in, clocking out. I used to be a bartender, used to show up, do my I'm doing prep right now, I'm cutting some fruit right now, and then come 11 o'clock I'm serving the lunch crowd. Which is actually ironically where Josh and I first met. Serving them lunch. But so on the flip side of that, you're at the mercy of your client's schedule. So, actually at 11 o'clock here, I have a showing I need to get to. I need to go show a property to one of my clients. There are times where my kids have, sports and events that I'm missing because in the evenings I'm showing properties. So, while I may have a flexible schedule during the day, after my 11 o'clock, I'm going to go hit the gym. I have flexibility, but then also I'm at the mercy of my client's schedule, which is also, it's a double-edged sword there.
Right.
Going back to the time part on the dislikes, dude, people don't value your time and they think that this is a part-time gig. Yeah. There are people who don't buy houses every day because most people don't. Right. And if they're not ingrained in the industry, they think that they can just go shop around houses with you. And unless you lock them up under like a buyer agency contract, which in like Florida, they don't even use buyer agency contracts, which is like the Wild West. And I don't know if any other state is like that, but I was talking to some of my friends that sell down there and it's like, dude, I couldn't imagine going shopping around with a buyer looking at these properties and wasting your time, your money, your gas, and then have them go work with somebody else at the end of the day. They just call up the listing agent and the listing agent gets dual agency on it. Yeah. Dude, like there are people, they just don't understand the value of your time. And
I don't think they understand how you get compensated either.
Exactly.
That's a huge part of it is they think that you're like on an hourly clock or something.
Or salary or something.
You're getting paid to show these properties when you're not.
Exactly. Well, and so that's one of the things that I like and dislike is the money.
Yeah.
There's so many different ways to make money in the industry, and if you're selling and you're doing well, I mean, you can make a lot of money in this industry.
Yeah.
but you're not guaranteed anything,
Nope.
which is why a lot of people don't last. People are either part-timers where they sell a house a year or don't sell anything in 2 years, right? And they hope to sell something at some point, which is great when they do. It's a nice, you make a $10,000 check out of nowhere. People are very pleased with that, right?
Yeah.
But unless you're doing it full time, you can't truly be successful in it.
Yeah.
And the people who are doing it full time, you're not guaranteed anything. So
and I think people underestimate too how much it takes to be successful.
Oh yeah.
Because it's not like it's just something that happens. Like
no, yeah, business is not handed to you.
You got to do a lot. Like you got to have a lot of reps to be able to get a deal done.
Yep.
Yeah,
and usually 1 to 2% conversion rate. So every 100 to 200 conversations you have, you'll close a deal.
Yeah.
And so those conversations are new conversations with new people. So you got to be constantly out and about, meeting new people, calling new people, door knocking, mailers, PPC, doing all of it, So
for sure.
It's all grabbing the attention, and then once you get the traction, you got to keep the traction because lava cools. You gotta maintain that uptick of hey, I am the professional and the expert in the industry that you want to be working with.
Well, the timelines are very long too, right?
Oh,
the
yeah.
life cycle of these deals are very long, and so you can't ever stop working your pipeline because even if you're doing really good 1 month, if you've neglected your leads or neglected the people in the back, then your next couple months are going to be dead, right?
Yep.
I always say like basically what you're doing today is for month 3
or 6.
So or 6. Realistically, it could be anywhere in that line. So it takes a very long time to get traction.
Yep.
In the industry because you constantly have to be on that wheel, on that rep wheel, or else you'll die. So.
Yeah, I just closed a deal, what was that, 2 months ago now. I was working with those clients for almost 3 years.
And I think this is where a lot of people struggle in the industry is that, especially if you're a solo agent and you don't have like other people helping you or other like advertising or marketing or follow-up or like a good CRM or anything, people get in the industry and even if they do hustle right away, they do really well, but then they have 3 or 4 transactions under the belt and now, they don't have a TC, they don't have anybody to help. Now they're managing those deals, get to the finish line, and they've completely neglected lead
everything
gen.
else. Yeah. So once they get paid, then they got to restart the whole cycle.
And now it's another 6 months until you're back. So it's a roller coaster.
Yeah.
I think that happens for a lot of agents.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, that's the biggest thing that I've been focused on in my own personal business is just making sure that I keep it ahead of things, right?
And it's the same in the mortgage industry. So, I'll go into some of the things and they're very kind of similar to what you spoke on, but one of the major things that I personally just don't like, which it's really not, it's not that bad, is the evenings and weekend stuff, right? That you got to do. Typically, it's pretty easy, on the mortgage side to, just pull up your phone and run numbers or a pre-approval for somebody. But sometimes you got to hop on the phone with borrowers or consumers and, do loan apps
or
because
agents.
They're working or agents.
Yeah.
Or agents.
I'll call Josh on the weekends.
And I don't and the thing of it is it's a lot easier when it's an agent, like if it's a Logan or somebody in our office. That's a lot easier of a conversation to have versus talking to a realtor that you've never worked with before or you don't have a relationship with because you're doing a lot of hand-holding and it's a lot of conversation that is kind of needless a lot of the times, whereas like Logan will literally text me an address and then the consumer's name and I know exactly what to do with that, right? So it's like it's quick. It's quick, it's easy, there's no friction there.
Yeah.
Whereas, it's kind of annoying if you have to have a 15-20 minute conversation with somebody when you're trying to hang out with your kid on the weekend and do whatever. So I would say
it's one of these videos on a phone call. It's a learning lesson. Yeah, you're literally teaching them.
Yes, that's exactly right. So those conversations obviously would rather have during normal business hours. So it's not impeding on the family thing. So I would say that's one of the downfalls that I see in the mortgage industry. Personally on the mortgage brokerage side, that's not your typical like 9 to 5. If you had a 9 to 5, you can shut off, right? You can stop.
Exactly.
And this is really any business. If you're going to be a business owner, you're going to be a 1099 contractor. you're going to be dealing with consumers and, counterparts in business pretty much 24/7.
Well, and another huge thing that I've always stayed away from, especially with my background in bartending, is management.
Right.
Any sort of management, you're on salary. I mean, they always joke around that, salary is what they give to you to make your dreams die, right?
Yeah.
And dude, I have been offered so many bar management gigs, and I always am like, why would I take on more responsibility and more time to make less money? I make more money as a bartender. Slinging drinks, you make great money in tips, you know?
Yeah.
So it's like, dude, there's no way.
100%, dude. 100%. So yeah, that's one downfall of it. I would say another downfall is definitely the life cycle of it that we spoke on earlier. That is, obviously, just the beginning stages of it, and building up a pipeline is very, very crucial, and it takes a very long time without any necessarily seeing any success from it, right? You got to have a hard head and understand that what you're doing now is for month 3, 4, 5, 6 down the line, and not get discouraged and continue to pick up the phone.
Or month 36, it takes years sometimes.
I was going to say, it takes a very long time in a real estate cycle for a consumer to buy a house and go under contract and, look at properties, and so it's a very long life cycle.
And then one of the things that, one of my mentors taught me when I first got into the industry is, we don't even get paid to put deals under contract. We get paid to close deals.
Yeah.
So you might work with a buyer for 6 months, 8 months, looking at houses for, let's say, 3 of those months, right? Because they didn't even find anything the first couple months. But you still need to stay in front of them. You still need to stay, attentive to them and their needs and their goals, and say, all right, well, how do we change things to make it work for you?
Right.
Okay, you're finally out in the market. You're finally looking at properties. As the realtor, you're driving around. You show them 30 houses, 20 houses. Finally, we put in 6 offers. We lose out on 5 of them. The 6th offer gets accepted. Okay, great. We're finally under contract. We're not paid. We don't get paid, And then there's all the inspections and the mortgage contingency. Yeah,
fall apart.
It very well could fall apart. And obviously, nobody wants it to fall apart, but it happens.
Well, that's where, realistically, to be successful in either of these industries, and I think at anything in large, is you have to fall in love with the process.
Yeah.
Because if you don't fall in love with the process and you're only thinking about doing deals and getting transactions done, you're going to get burnt out real quick. Whereas, if you understand that it's every rep, it's, you don't see the progress day one, right? You don't see the progress every rep you do in the gym. You're not getting bigger incrementally, but you are. You just don't know. You just don't know it. You just don't notice it.
Depends if you're on steroids.
It depends. It happens a lot quicker.
I know some guys that get bigger every rep they do.
It's just like pumping up.
Like the SpongeBob balloon.
So yeah, you gotta have patience. You gotta have patience, and you gotta know that the things that you're doing are gonna pay off in the long term, and you gotta just fall in love with the process of it.
100%, yeah, and that goes back to what you were talking about with the whole time. And that's why I never took any management jobs, because I'm not gonna go and spend more time for less money to build somebody else's business.
Yes.
Now, when it's my own business, I'll spend all the time in the world because I have a passion for it. I love it. It's helping me create generational wealth for my family.
Yeah.
It's a much different story than in a management position. And you never get to turn off.
And that's one of the things that I think we both love in the industries that we're in, is it is completely up to you basically on what you do. Right?
Oh yeah.
What your volume is. So, and you live and die by the sword.
Yep.
It's a bad thing because it's completely up to you, and it's a great thing because it's completely up to you, right? And so you have to make sure that you're holding yourself accountable, because nobody else is going to do it. And that you are ultimately deciding what future you want, and then it's completely up to you to make that happen.
Yeah. Failure is not an option, dude. And that's why I love being in business with you, because we hold each other accountable. We help push each other to higher levels. And we're texting late at night, like, all right, this is the ideas we got, and it's like, all right, let's make it make it happen.
Well, and you had touched on this previously before we started the video, is it takes a special type of person, I think. And we are both very much like-minded, and see the world and see things very similar. So it's pretty easy to get along. Whereas, I think there's certain there's ways to make money in this industry that aren't necessarily sales, right? You know, you could be a TC, you could be a transaction coordinator, you could go into title work, you could, you know, if you're better with, you know, documents and all that stuff, there's a lot of different ways of being very successful in this industry that don't necessarily have to do around producing, right?
Yep, exactly. Well, and one of the biggest things that I always recommend also, though, is on the real estate investment side, getting your license just for your own deals, you know, because you don't need to make any money on the actual sales side of things. But if you're buying 2, 3, 4 properties a year, you're saving yourself tens of thousands of dollars of commission. You know, one of my best friends is a real estate investor, and you know, he's in the process of getting his license because he's like, dude, what? I did the math in the 2 years of his real estate investing, he paid like $70,000 out to his realtor, and I'm like, dude, like, what are you doing?
Well, and I see it the same in the mortgage industry, dude. If you have a mortgage brokerage or you know, become an LO, dude, I mean, the things that you're able to do and your expertise on knowing these different products is crucial, because there's a lot of products out there that people don't even know about.
Correct.
And when you start getting your license and you start talking to different wholesale lenders, and, you know, there's doors that open up to you for products that you never would have even known exist. And it's also very nice to have relationships with, you know, lenders and underwriters for your own deals, right? Because then if you're picking up a rental and you want to, you know, a 30-year DSCR, you can pick up the phone and talk to the person who is making the decision on your file and that property. Like, it's a huge benefit for both, I think, for get your real estate license and your mortgage license.
Yeah, 100%.
Even if you're not, you know, even if you're not doing it on a consumer basis for income.
Yeah, just do it for yourself. And then hang your licenses with us, because we'll let you run it, you know, and we don't have fees that, you know, other large retail brokerages, big shops will make you pay, you know, to be a part of their organization.
Absolutely. No.
Come to J.R.Heller and run your business how you want.
Yeah.
As long as it's legal and ethical.
Yep, that's right. That's right.
Awesome, man.
Cool. Well, I think that's a great video.
Yeah, definitely. Hit the link down below for Cabinet Gurus if you guys need some cabinets.
Yeah, get some cabinets going. And we appreciate you being here. If there's anything we can touch on, please leave it, comment below, and subscribe and hit the bell notification so you get new videos when they come out. And thanks, y'all.